Now, you know what they call all that? You know what all that's called? Intimidation. Threats against Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, threats to pack the court, leaking of an opinion, and attacks on churches, a concerted effort by the left to intimidate the highest court in our land. And I didn't even mention the lies told about Justice Kavanaugh in 2018 during his confirmation process. I didn't mention when Senator Joe Biden and Senate Democrats drove Justice Alito's wife to tears during his confirmation hearing. And I didn't mention the Democrats on this committee who have for the last year attacked Justice Thomas and his wife. And now today, a hearing about 8-year-old secondhand hearsay. 8-year-old secondhand hearsay from a witness who for 18 years took money from pro-life donors, $30 million, and then this year, all of a sudden remembers, just weeks after the Dobbs leak happened, that 8 years ago, he heard that at a dinner party, Justice Alito told his guests that they would like the Hobby Lobby decision.
Jim Jordan goes nuclear and stops Schumer's war on America's court. This is exactly why we fight to defend our Supreme Court. Before we break it all down, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Right Focus, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the truth the mainstream media refuses to tell you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. March 2020, on the steps of the Supreme Court, Senator Schumer said, quote, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you." April of last year, the Democrat chairman of the House Judiciary Committee introduced legislation to add 4 associate justices to the United States Supreme Court, to pack the court. May 2nd of this year, the draft opinion of the Dobbs decision was made public. The next day, May 3rd, the very next day, attacks on churches, crisis pregnancy centers begin. They occur around the country, and they continue for months. Over 100 churches, crisis pregnancy centers attacked since the leak of that opinion. Now, you know what they call all that? You know what all that's called? Intimidation. Threats against Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, threats to pack the court, leaking of an opinion, and attacks on churches, a concerted effort by the left to intimidate the highest court in our land. And I didn't even mention the lies told about Justice Kavanaugh in 2018 during his confirmation process. I didn't mention when Senator Joe Biden and Senate Democrats drove Justice Alito's wife to tears during his confirmation hearing. And I didn't mention the Democrats on this committee who have for the last year attacked Justice Thomas and his wife. And now today, a hearing about 8-year-old secondhand hearsay. 8-year-old secondhand hearsay from a witness who for 18 years took money from pro-life donors, $30 million, and then this year, all of a sudden remembers, just weeks after the Dobbs leak happened, that 8 years ago, he heard that at a dinner party, Justice Alito told his guests that they would like the Hobby Lobby decision. Just now remembers that. Mr. Schenck wasn't there. Justice Alito said Mr. Schenk's story is not true. The dinner guest said Mr. Schenk's story is not true. The Supreme Court said Mr. Schenk's story is not true. Politico said, quote, "We spent several months, attempting to corroborate Schenk's claim, but were unable to locate anyone who heard about the decision from Alito or his wife before its release." Let me just say that part of that again. We were unable to locate anyone who heard about the decision from Alito before its release. And even the New York Times who broke the story, they said there are gaps in Mr. Schenk's account. Gaps in his account. That's liberal speak for this story doesn't add up. But I'll tell you something that did happen. The Dobbs draft opinion was in fact leaked, and it was made public on May 2nd, 2022. And after that leak, as I've said, dozens and dozens of churches were attacked. Dozens and dozens of pro-life crisis pregnancy centers were attacked. Protests occurred at Supreme Court justices' homes, and there was an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. But to date, in this Congress, not one hearing in the House Judiciary Committee about that leak. Not one hearing about the real leak, but here we are today at the end of the session having a hearing on the fake leak. from a witness whose story even the liberal press says, quote, we were unable to locate anyone who can corroborate what he said. That's what we're doing. So I hope maybe in the last week or two of this session of Congress, maybe we can begin to look into what happened with the Dobbs decision, how that leak took place. I think that would be something that would merit our time and attention. I would also point out this, Mr. Chairman, before I yield back. We just got his testimony. We're supposed to get his testimony the night before. We just, at 12:20, we get his testimony for a 10 o'clock hearing. Been nice if we'd had that as well. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the chair of the Subcommittee on Courts, Intellectual Property, and the Internet, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Johnson, for his opening statement.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Chairman.
Jim Jordan just went absolutely nuclear and stopped Schumer's war on America's court. What we witnessed at this judiciary hearing wasn't just routine political back and forth. It was a patriotic stand against one of the most aggressive assaults on the Supreme Court we've ever seen. Right focus here, and if you believe in protecting our institutions from the radical left, hit like and subscribe right now. We need your support to keep the truth alive. Let's get into it. Jordan looks these Democrats in the eye and reminds them exactly what Schumer did back in 2020. He stood on the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened two sitting justices by name. He told Gorsuch and Kavanaugh that they would pay the price and that they wouldn't know what hit them. That is language designed to intimidate and spark fear in the highest court in the land. And what happened next? We watched Democrats introduce legislation to pack the court, trying to add 4 more liberal judges because they couldn't control the rulings. They couldn't win through the Constitution, so they tried to sabotage it. Then came the Dobbs leak. And the very next day, attacks on churches and pro-life pregnancy centers erupted across this country. More than 100 of them vandalized or hit with violence. Not by conservatives. Not by Republicans. By the left. The same left now pretending they care about judicial ethics. Jordan points out that protests were sent directly to justices' private homes. We even saw an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. None of this was accidental. This was a coordinated pressure campaign to tear down the court and punish it for daring to follow the Constitution. And yet, what are Democrats doing today? They're holding hearings over an alleged dinner party rumor from 8 years ago claiming Justice Alito leaked a decision. A story denied by Alito, denied by the supposed dinner guest, denied by the Supreme Court itself, and even denied by Politico and the New York Times, who tried to corroborate it and failed. Even liberal media says the story doesn't add up. But Democrats keep pushing it. Meanwhile, there hasn't been one single hearing in this entire Congress about the real Dobbs leak. Not one. No investigation. No accountability. Because they don't care about the truth. They care about narrative. Jordan calls them out for receiving testimony only hours before the hearing, designed to blindside Republicans. That's how desperate they are to create a distraction from their open hostility toward the court. The reality is simple: Democrats have spent years attacking conservative justices. They tried to destroy Kavanaugh during his confirmation. They smeared Justice Thomas and his wife. They went after Alito. Why? Because these justices don't bow to the progressive agenda. Jim Jordan is one of the few willing to publicly defend the court against this onslaught. He lays out the timeline, the facts, and the consequences. And he does it without fear. This is why we need men like him in Congress. They understand that if the Supreme Court falls, if Democrats are allowed to intimidate and manipulate it, then the balance of our republic collapses. This is bigger than politics. This is about protecting the rule of law and defending the Constitution from a radical movement that will burn every institution to the ground to get what it wants. If you believe in the fight to protect our court and our country, like this video, subscribe to Right Focus, and share this message. The truth needs to be heard. I'll be following this story closely, and we'll see whether Democrats ever decide to investigate the real Dobbs leak, not their fake made-up one from 8 years ago. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp. Stay patriotic. Stay focused. The right focus. And always stand for truth.